Hey everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to first write the code for getting the followers and following information of the user. So get followers, it is going to be a get request slash followers and the user ID, and it is going to be protected route and request and response. So first of all, let's destructure out our user ID from request.params. And now inside the try catch, so inside the try block, we are going to find the user, wait follower model dot find one, and we are going to look for the user with this user ID, and we are going to chain on to populate and followers dot user. So inside the follower model, we have the followers, and again the user is an object and its reference is set to user and type is object ID. So again we are going to populate its data. And here from here we are going to return res.json user.followers. So this was all for the followers, and I'm just going to copy it, and it is going to be get following, and its route is going to be following and user ID. So here we are going to populate the following.user, and we are going to send back the following. So now let's write code for following a user. So follow a user. We are going to make a post request, and our route is going to be /API/profile/follow and the user to follow ID, and it is going to be protected route, request and response. First of all, let's destructure out some values here. We are going to receive the user ID inside the request object from a middleware, and also we are going to receive the user to follow ID inside request.params and inside the try catch. First of all, we are going to look for both of these users. So const user await follower model dot find one user with this user ID. So this user is the logged in user, and const user to follow await follower model dot find one user is going to be user to follow ID. And here we're going to check if no user or not user to follow. We are going to return res.status 404.send user not found. So now we are going to check if the user who is trying to follow the other user has not already followed him. So just like we did on our posts, when we were liking the post, we were checking if the user has not already liked the post. So here we are going to check if the user has not already followed the user before. So const is following user dot following dot length is greater than 0, and user dot following dot filter following. So following dot user dot toString. So here again I'm going using the toString here because inside the following the user is an object ID, so it is not a string. That's why we have to convert it into a string first. And if it is equals to user to follow ID, and if its length is greater than 0. So first of all, we are checking for the length if the user.following.length is greater than 0. And then we are running this filter over that to check if the user who is being followed here is not already there inside the array. So if is following, that means if it is true, that means the user is already followed. We are going to return res.status 401.send user already followed. So now when you follow someone, their followers count increase and your following increases. That's how it happens. So that's how we are going to do this. First of all, we are going to add data inside the following of the user logged in. So wait user dot following dot unshift. You can also use the push method here if you want. And we're going to unshift the user with the user to follow ID. So here we are going to add the ID of the user who is being followed. And then we are going to save the user. And now we are going to add the data inside the followers of the user who is being followed. So wait user to follow dot followers dot unshift user and the user ID. So inside the followers of the user to follow, we are going to add the ID of the logged in user. And then we are going to again save the user. And we are going to return res.status 200.send success. So now let's check this request inside the postman. So I am logged in as Jane Doe here, and I'm going to follow the John Doe user. So let's get his ID. So this is the ID for the John Doe user. In this tab, I am logged in as John Doe. And our route is /API/profile and follow. And the ID of the user who is being followed. Post request. First, let's check if our error handling is working. I'm going to change the ID here. And we get user not found. Perfect. And now let's follow this user. And we get success. And now if I try again to follow this user, let's check the response. User already followed. So now if I get the followers of the John Doe, let's check its followers and the ID here. Get request. I added double slashes here. And now you can see we get the Jane Doe user and we have populated the user. That's why we're getting this user object here. So now let's write code to unfollow the user. Unfollow a user. It is going to be a put request. And our route is going to be /unfollow and the user to unfollow ID and auth middleware, request and response. Again, we are going to destructure out our user ID from the middleware inside the request. And then we are going to destructure out from the params user to unfollow ID. And here inside the try catch, first of all, again, we are going to look for both the users. So I'm just going to copy it here. So in this request, we are going to check if the user who is logged in and is trying to unfollow the other user, he has already followed him previously or not. So for that, we are again going to create a boolean here, is following and user dot following dot length greater than 0 and user dot following dot filter following iterator. So if following dot user dot toString is equals to user to unfollow ID, and if its length is equals to 0. So if its length is equals to 0, that means the user has not followed him before. So if is following, if it is true, then return res.status 401.send user not followed previously. So after this check, we are going to remove the user from the following array of the logged in user and from the followers of the user who is being unfollowed. So first of all, we are going to get its index. So const remove following, and we are going to map over the array. So user dot following dot map following dot user dot toString dot index of and we are going to get the index of the user to unfollow ID. So this will return us a number, and then we are going to await user.following.splice, and the number is going to be this remove following, and we're going to remove one number, one count, and then we're going to save this user. So we're going to do the same for the followers array. So const remove followers user to unfollow dot followers dot map followers follower dot user dot toString dot index of and user ID, and then we are going to await user to unfollow dot followers dot splice remove followers. I'm just going to make it a singular because we are removing one follower only, and one user to unfollow dot save. And after this, we are going to return again the status of success. So this was all we had to do for the unfollow request. So now let's make this request inside the postman. Our route is put request and unfollow and the user to unfollow ID. And here I'm going to make a put request unfollow, and the ID is going to be for the John Doe here. I'm logged in as Jane Doe. So there is a typo here, followers. Make sure it is the right spelling, otherwise it is going to show the error. Inside the follow model, we have the followers and the following. So now let's save and make a request on the postman. So I did the route, and the ID here is the John Doe's ID. I've already followed him before. I'm going to unfollow him. Let's make the request. And you can see we get the response success. And now if I get the followers for the John Doe, and you can see we get the empty array. So this was all for this video. In the next video, we are going to start working on writing API routes for updating the profile, and then we are going to work on updating the password. So I will see you there.